babes, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jessica Alexandria of BehatiLife. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today we're going to be talking about the top 5, this is 10, but this is the top 5 mistakes, common mistakes that witches make. Now, this is what I personally have noticed, and I wanted to, of course, have an open conversation with you guys so that you don't make the same mistakes. So I'm going to go ahead and dive right in. The first thing is they scatter their resources. If you see me looking down, it's because I'm looking at my phone, because I wrote these all down 2 nights ago, and I said I need to talk to my tribe about this. But okay, the first one was scattering their resources. And this is a mistake that I have made because multiple times throughout my journey, because we get so excited about capturing and studying, like capturing our notes, capturing our experiences, studying things, and we end up scattering that, meaning we have a dream journal, we have a regular journal, we have a grimoire, we have all different types of like prophecies, everything, things that have come to us, or notes, or things that we find along our, along our journey, whether we find it through other people's study and other people's research and other people's experiences. Maybe we write it on our phones. Then we want to, capture our dreams. So then we have a journal for that. We put that in that one journal, and then we put, our notes and things that we found at the library or doing research in one thing. So all of this information is scattered all throughout. And what I found is that you end up losing those pieces. I don't know about you guys, but I end up losing those pieces. And those are important pieces of information that just get scattered, or I'll find it later and, maybe it'll be so beat up, or maybe it'll get lost in a phone. Maybe a phone crashes during Mercury retrograde. But I just found that it's really helpful. And I know this sounds crazy, but maybe to have like 2 sources. One is a journal specifically for writing down, your emotional day-to-day life, and readings. So keep that in one thing, and then information, even if it doesn't, all fall under the same category, put it in one spot, put it in one area. So that would be a separate journal. So for me, I have a grimoire, I have a dream journal that goes under my journal. I have a regular journal that I write every day under the same thing. I have tarot readings. Every day when I do a tarot reading, even if it's daily pull, I put it in the same journal, which is this one. Then when it comes to the grimoire, that's totally separate. That's information exclusively. But prophecies, they go in the journal that I write in every day. So there's two things that I keep with me at all times, and they're all under the same thing. If I write intentions, they go in the same journal that I write because it comes from my heart. So if it's from the heart, I put it in the one journal. If it's information or research and my own personal studies, it goes in a separate journal. And that's something that I don't really, share with others. Let's say I write an intention down, or if I write a prayer or a petition, I will write it on a piece of paper. I don't know if you guys can see this, but this is one of my petitions. I'll write it on a piece of paper, and I'll tuck it into the emotional journey, because the emotional journal, because it came from the heart. So that was one thing that I honestly have found, that as a witch, that I've made that mistake, because you end up scattering all of your information, and at the end of the day, you find you have missing pieces, important things that it is that you wish that you had, you can't find because it's scattered all over, and it actually becomes really overwhelming. And it's impossible to keep up with all these different sections. So that's why I say, for beginner witches and even advanced witches, simplify. In everything that I do, I think that the main thing that I've learned is to simplify, to keep things as simple as possible, including my magic, because it allows you to stay focused. It allows you to, the more focused you are, the more specific you are. It's like a bow and arrow. You know your target, you're aiming towards it. Versus if it's complex and there's all this extra stuff, the energy starts getting like muddled. It starts swirling, and then you mentally get muddled and swirling around in your brain. You can't find things. It just gets too much too soon. It gets overwhelming. And yeah, keep it. Oh yeah, I wrote that down. Keep it simple. The next mistake that I find that witches make, and that I see a lot, is boxing yourself in. And I put the note, it says you don't need to identify as any one thing. You can be all things. Follow and develop your passions and interests. And I truly believe that. And I find this happening a lot when people they're like, oh my gosh, I really truly am a witch, or I'm really interested in, this path. I'm really interested in working magic. I'm really interested in setting intention. And they're like, okay, this is who I am. I realize this about myself. Now, because I realize this about myself, I want to identify this and be more specific about who and what I am. But the thing is that this is a common misconception when it comes to witches, is that we'll fit under one category. Like, we're going to be a green witch, we're going to be, if as a witch, am I a Wiccan, am I pagan? What is it that I fit under? Am I a Christian witch? What type of witchcraft do I fall under? And the thing is, or witch, or intention, or whatever, what is it that I can categorize myself under? And the thing is that you do not have to be all of one thing. You can be all things. So you can, if you have an interest in astrology, study astrology. If you have an interest in tarot, study that. If you have an interest in herbs, if you gravitate towards working with fire, if you gravitate towards setting intention and not exclusively that. If you are interested in prayer alone and going to church, that's fine. You can make what it is that you can be all of these things and none of those things. You don't have to box yourself under one category, even though it is exciting in the beginning to be like, oh my God, this is who I am, but like, who am I? Like, there's always this need to be like, okay, but let's dive in deep and more. And our brains always want to kind of like compartmentalize, you know what I mean? We always want to kind of identify even more in order to, because we're so excited to understand this next level of ourselves. But what I found is that it gets really frustrating because you're like, well, this is off limits to me, or this is not my jurisdiction. Nothing is off limits to you. You can study, you can do anything that you want. That's just like a person who says, okay, I discovered, you look in the mirror one day and you're like, I'm African American. And then you're like, okay, well, what is it that African Americans do? We do everything. We do everything. Nothing is off limits to us. We can travel as African Americans. We can, go hiking. We can go horseback riding. We can be interested in arts and reading books. The world is our oyster, and the same thing is true for, finding that you have powers within you, you have gifts within you. Nothing is off limits to you. Just because you fit under this category doesn't mean that now you have to fit the stereotype of all of what that is and all of what it's understood to be. You can be anything and everything. So I really wanted to say that one too. And the thing is too is that, you are under the influence of your spirit, you know what I mean? Your personal spirit and also the spirits that have come before you, at least in my belief system. So your ancestor, the blood of your ancestors runs through you to this day. And their interests and their gifts and their skills and their protection is running through you to this very day. So there are going to be things that you are going to be guided to that don't make sense to you because your ancestors have left that, or it's a part of your path, your journey here outside of your ancestors, outside of your legacy, that you then have to find, discover, to study, to take seriously. And you'll know it because you're intrigued by it, you're curious about it, you're pulled towards it. So for that being said, it's really important for you to honor your curiosities, to honor your passion, to honor your interests, because you're going to be pulled and guided. My nose is tickling and you guys know what that means. So the next thing is comparison. Don't compare your journey to others. You diminish your power by doing this. And this is so true because I see people comparing my magic, their magic, to my magic. And oh my gosh, my nose is on fire right now. Or it's like tickling so hard. But they're comparing their magic to my magic. Or they're saying like, oh, this person did this. Or they did this. Was I wrong? Follow your path. Follow your journey. I can't even concentrate. Holy crap. Follow your path. Follow your journey. You can look at others for guidance. You can look to see what others are doing, but don't do it in a way that you compare yourself and be like, well, they did it this way, or this was their ritual. Again, we all have different rituals. We all have different ways of honoring, what it is that we're working with, what it is that we're trying to achieve, what it is that we're trying to do in our lives. So it doesn't all fit and look the same. So don't compare yourself to others. The other thing too is with comparison is that, the quote that says comparison is the thief of joy. That's so true, but also it's a thief of your personal power because you are second guessing yourself. And really, your journey is your journey alone. It's up to you. You guys, just forgive me as I'm rubbing my nose. Like, That's just how my ancestors talk to me, and my spirit guides talk to me always and forever. And for some reason, it's like this side of my nose. It's always been that way. But yeah, like your journey is going to, and your path is going to teach you different lessons and teach you different ways of doing certain things that you can then contribute and bring back to our community and be like, this is what worked for me. What worked for you? Oh, that's cool that worked. Maybe I'll try it, maybe I won't. But honor your feelings, honor what feels right and what feels wrong, and respect it, because that's, spirit guiding you, and that spirit telling you, like, this is the way to walk, or try it this way, or do it this way. All right? So again, follow your interests, follow your passion, what intrigues you, what is pulling you. The next biggest mistake that I'm seeing witches make is they follow all the rules. And again, this is like, you tell me what it is that I need to do. Like, no, you know what? It's good to be under the watch of someone. It's good to be under the leadership of someone, because not everyone is a leader and not everyone is a follower. And sometimes leaders end up being followers and followers end up being leaders. And that's okay. It's the balance of powers, which is a good thing. I, as a leader in my community and in my tribe, there are moments, absolutely, especially now, where I invite in the advice and the wisdom of the elders, including my ancestors. I seek them for advice all the time. Talk to me constantly about what it is that I need to do for my own personal ritual. What do you want? What do you need? What do I need to do? Talk to me. So that's me asking, as a leader, asking them to allow me to follow them. But at the same time, you can't follow all of the rules. And again, rules are made for being broken. And as time goes on, we have different types of generations that come through that bring their own wisdom. And we saw that with the indigo children, we saw it with the rainbow children, we saw it with the crystal children, and how the different generations bring different energies, because the cosmos are constantly changing, which means that as the cosmos changes, as the cosmos change, so do we, as above, so below. So we have to then we respect the rules and the traditions and the rituals of those that have come before us, but at the same time, at some moment in our lives, we're going to deviate from those normal rules and make our own, because our generations are changing. And we can take yay, my package is here. Dope. Okay. That moment when your package arrives. Okay, so yeah, we take the different rituals and the traditions of those that have passed them on before us, and then sometimes we deviate from it, and that's okay. So I also put the note that each ritual tends to be special and unique, especially in the moment. Sometimes, you have this ritual set up and it's going to look a certain way and you expect it to look a certain way, and then in the moment you're kind of guided to do something differently, or you're guided to do an extra step or to take out a certain step, and then you doing that enhances the ritual, enhances the moment, and helps you to connect with someone new, someone different, meaning like ancestor, a different spirit, or whatever. So don't be afraid to break those rules. And I also said, tailor it to match what feels good and right for you. Ancestors and guides will speak to you. The same thing is true with spells and herbs and fire and the elements of it. Don't be afraid to switch the rules up and to change the ritual in some way if you are guided to do it. Don't box yourself in. The last thing is the biggest mistake, I think, one of the biggest mistakes is not doing research. This means jumping in without doing any study of the herbs, and that, or, the elements, or doing research with your ancestors, respecting them enough to ask for information about them. It could be as simple as if your grandmother's still alive. Like one of the last moments that I had with my grandmother, she's still alive now, but the last time her and I hung out, I literally was sitting at her feet and we were talking about magic. And that was such a huge moment, because my grandmother is highly psychic. But I don't want to talk too much about her out of respect for her privacy and stuff like that. But she, and it runs in my family too. My mother is highly psychic, highly intuitive. She's a shaman now and moving, she's been doing acupuncture and her own energy work and stuff like that, and just, killing the game, but in a good way. But for my grandmother was raised Catholic, and from the islands in Jamaica, and sometimes witchcraft, obeah is what they call it there, is considered really bad. And it was just so interesting to be able to sit at my grandmother's feet, literally at my grandmother's feet, and listen to her talk about our family, the women in our family, and their ability to see spirits, and what that looked like, and magic in general, and how it was passed on, and how there was fear connected to it. But still, we do ritual. Interestingly enough, you can watch the ritual process in certain things that is just a part of our culture, a part of our life, a part of our lifestyle. So you even asking your current relatives about your ancestry, if they're comfortable speaking about it, or just asking them, what was your mother like? You know, what were her interests? What did she like to do? What was she good at? What were her hobbies? Did she smoke? Did she wear red lipstick? Like, what are those things? Because based on it, what you end up doing is you're learning and honoring your ancestors by researching them, by asking about them. And you can bring those elements of what you've learned from them and apply them to your ritual to honor them in the now and the present, because they're still with us, so much with us. And I've been doing a lot of ancestral work lately, so if you guys would like to would like me to do a video on that, I'd be more than happy to do that for you guys. But also the same thing is true with herbs. You know, a lot of people, I offer so many herbs on my website within the apothecary, and the herbs that I have in the apothecary are benign, but you want to make sure that you're doing your research and deeply researching them as much as possible. And I'm working on an herbal guide that I'll put on my website for free for you guys to access. But there's, you know, some herbs have, you know, even though they're connected to love, or even though they're connected to power, some of them come with conditions. So you want to make sure that you're doing your research, deep research, and not just doing superficial, like going to these blogs. Make sure that the blogs that it is that you are seeking, that you check their credentials, and that you check their background. And you don't just go to one page. Look at their entire page. Look at their entire website. What content, what are they putting out there? Because their information, that's coming from their psyche. That's coming from their mind and their perception of things. So you want to make sure that if you're truly getting this information from this source, that it's coming from a place that is aligned with what you want for yourself. And if not, you don't need to be learning from them, because it's not, you want to always check your resource. You always want to do your research. And the other thing is doing your own research for yourself. And I say this time and time and time again with people who are studying like synchronicity with numbers, where they'll say, Jess, I keep seeing 222 or 111 or 71717171. What does that mean for me? And I've had friends text me and just be like, Jess, this keeps showing up. And I don't care how close you are to me. You have to do the research on your own. I could find, if I had all the answers, I wouldn't give them to you guys, because I'm allowing you to take the easy way out. If I have to do the work in order to, if you're seeing repeating numbers, it's because someone is trying to talk to you. And in order for you to have a conversation with them, in order for you to have a relationship with them, you need to open the door. You need to do the work in order to build that relationship, so that you don't have to rely on someone else to hear what spirit is trying to tell you. That's like having an intimate relationship with a partner, and then, you know, in order for you to communicate with your partner, to understand what they're saying, you have to go to a friend to ask them what your partner is saying. No, develop the relationship with your partner so that you guys can have an exclusive, intimate relationship with each other. So that's why, as a business, as an intuitive, as a you know, energy worker, and, you know, doing the work that I do, I could make buku money off of charging people for interpretation and charging people to work with your angels. But why would I want to do that? Like, it just doesn't, I feel like people should do things for themselves and learn to do things for themselves, versus have someone take the easy way out and be like, tell me what it is that they're saying. Do the work. Connect with your guides. Ask them. Meditate. And if you can't make time for it, then it's not something that's important to you. So make the time for your spirits. Make the time. Do the research. Ask them what's up. All right, you guys. So that's what came through. Honestly, I'm trying to keep my videos under 20 minutes, which is easier said than done, because I'm a Virgo and I have so much to say, but I also want to give you guys the most information possible. So I hope that helps. What mistakes have you made during your journey? What mistakes do you see other people doing? Leave them down in the comments. Make sure that you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, because there's plenty more videos where this came from. I love you, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.